What's going on, guys? It's Shawn and welcome back to my channel, Casual Aquatics. If you haven't noticed, I shaved my beard, I got a bunch of plastic surgery, I got a bomb ass haircut. I completely changed my life for the better and I feel great. And I almost kind of feel like that guy, Palmer Aquatics. You know, I like his look. I'm just going for that look. So today we're gonna do a video on Hornwort aquarium plant care. So as you guys can see, I love aquarium plants and I love testing things and I love setting up tanks. I have another rack going up right here. This is gonna be 610s. I got a bunch of tanks going up in the office in there. I'm just playing around non-stop with aquarium plants. So please, this is my experience, what I'm telling you guys. Don't take it like as the end all be all, but let's deep dive into this plant. This plant, Hornwort. Let's talk aquarium plant care. First of all, Hornwort is probably the number one fastest growing aquarium plant in the hobby. A lot of people hate this plant for this reason. This stuff, on average, I was trying to do like a test to see how much it would grow per day. And some of these plants were growing 1 inch per day, no joke. Like this stuff grows like crazy. If you like that, a lot of people hate it. If I'm being completely honest, a lot of people that are into fancier plants, they just don't like it. It grows too fast. All right, so I want to go inside this tank and give you guys a closer look. I have the scissors here to kind of snip a piece and show you close-ups of what it looks like, how to propagate it, etc. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this apart. By the way, some of you guys might be wondering what the heck this is. This is essentially a little box that I built to raise the aquarium light. If you're facing a lot of algae problems, try raising your light. Some people do 10 inches, some people do 14. This is about 4 inches, and it really kind of helps take care of the algae. Is it annoying building a box? For sure, but if you're a mild craftsman, I feel like you can build a little box. And a lot of times I'll build little boxes for all these little tanks here. So let's get a better view here of what this looks like. So there's two different ways to keep Hornwort in your fish aquarium. You can float it or you can plant it. So here is essentially to propagate it, all you do is cut anywhere on the stem and just replant it, or you can just toss it in there. It will float completely great on top of the water. Sometimes you'll have issues if it floats on top of the water. It'll smother all the light and steal it from the other plant, so be very careful. And this plant in itself, it just feeds on nutrients in the water like crazy, and it will deprive your entire tank of nutrients, so beware. A lot of wastewater treatment centers use this to treat water. This stuff is super invasive, and like I said, you can float it, you can plant it in gravel, and when you plant this in your tank, it's not rooting in the substrate. It's essentially just kind of using, it's kind of like you're pretending like it's in the substrate like a stem plant, but all you're kind of doing is weighting it down, because this plant does not need to be rooted in the substrate to grow, and it gets all of its nutrients from the water column. So that means that you can have sand. That's why I use this plant in this tank, because I have sand and there's zero nutrients in this substrate, meaning this is a great plant for a sand only substrate. If I'm being honest, this is one of those plants you can literally not screw up. If you are finding yourself having it die on you, chances are there's not enough nutrients in the water column, or you don't have a bright enough light. Because this plant loves brightness, it loves lumens. You know, the more watts your light is, the more lumens it is. Essentially, the closer to the sun this plant is, the better it does. And if your water column is lacking nutrients, maybe look at getting a liquid fertilizer. What you can do is just kind of dose it. All these are different. You can find this on Amazon. All I do is throw a couple doses in there, or a couple squirts, sorry. And this stuff just blows up in growth. And you might be wondering, do I use liquid fertilizer in my other tanks? Not really, because a lot of these plants are fertilizer or substrate fed root plants, meaning they're getting a lot of their nutrients from the substrate. And this is a soil tank, so you got to be careful though, liquid fertilizer, because sometimes your tank can just blow up with algae. This tank does have algae already. What kind of sucks with some of these stagnant tanks is you deal with algae, and all I have in here are a couple sponge filters, so we do have a little bit of stagnant water, and with that comes algae. My advice would be to just kind of clean it out there, clean it out mechanically using your hand. There's not going to be a secret tool or a catfish that's going to come in here and fix everything. This is hair algae, so you're going to have to mechanically just get rid of it yourself. And a lot of times if I come in here to trim this, I'm literally just ripping this stuff up. I'm gonna throw this stuff away. It might, that might kill some of you, but this is one of those plants that once you have it, you have so much of it that it just takes over. And what I'm doing here is just yanking. And if you were to keep this, I'm yanking it out of the sand, which is not cool. If you were to keep this or give it to a friend, not a big deal on where you cut it. You can literally just take your cuttings and flop it into a tank here. Say if I were to just throw it in this cuttings tank, and that will grow just fine. I might even keep that just because once in a great while someone asked me for some hornwort, and this will grow completely fine. So to recap, taking care of hornwort in your aquarium, you can plant it in the substrate. You can plant it in sand, you can plant it in gravel. It doesn't do anything really though. All you're doing is weighing down the plant to make it look like a stem plant, even though it's not one. And it gets all of its nutrient from the water column. So you don't need a plant specific substrate like a you know, there's tons of them. Stratum, Eco-Complete. You don't need any of that stuff. That's what makes this awesome. A lot of people ask, do fish eat this stuff? Do goldfish eat it? Goldfish nibble on everything, man, and they'll try to destroy everything. And yes, they will eat this stuff, but it grows so fast that it really doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna throw this as just kind of like my cuttings tank. I'll just randomly throw stuff in here. And as far as the lighting spectrum, I've had zero issues. This is a 4,000 Kelvin light versus like, I think this aquarium, this Beamswork, I think is like 6,600 or something. It's a much whiter light, but the Hornwort plant doesn't mind. It just loves the brightness, the lumens. Get yourself a bright light. If you're using a cheap little like all-in-one tank that has a tiny little Chinese light, it's just not gonna be the greatest. Like this guy, these little diodes, they're not the best. You can tell even this duckweed. Oh look, a train. A train's coming by. Sorry about the noise. Look at this cool plant. I have Bacopa coming out of the water surface. Super cool. So I'm gonna quit blabbing though, guys. Check out my channel, Palmer Aquatics. There's a lot of crazy stuff to come. This house is getting filled with fish tanks. We're doing 610s here. We got the 620s here. There's gonna be 620s on the other side. I'm throwing in 12 20 talls in my office. It's a hot mess, but God, that train is freaking loud, bro. We're gonna do 620s here and then 320s behind there, and that's a 30, lottie-dottie. There's fish tanks everywhere. So guys, let me know in the comment section, Hornwort Aquarium Plant Care, and what you think of it. Hit up the comment section. I'll try to answer any questions. Same with Shawn. All right, thank you.